Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our live coverage of Starlink Group 12-11 mission launching from the Space Coast, that is from Launch Complex 39A at Kennedy Space Center in Florida. Hope you all are doing fine and excited about the upcoming SpaceX launch. We are super excited bringing you the coverage of SpaceX's 431st overall launch and the third Falcon 9 launch of this year. This is also the 418th Falcon 9 overall launch. Today's launch is the third from the Space Coast as SpaceX starts building their incredible launch cadence for this year with earlier two launches from Slick 40. Hi, my name is Dipta Maitra and I will be your host providing commentary for today's mission launch, and you are watching AstroYonder live.
Roger, 0G, and I feel fine. Capsule is turning around.
Houston, we see a nominal MECO. Welcome to space.
We are awaiting for a Falcon 9 liftoff at 10:27 a.m. Eastern Time from Florida for a southeasterly launch for SpaceX Starlink mission. The Starlink mission 12-11 will launch 21 Starlink satellites, including 13 with direct-to-cell to low Earth orbit. Today's mission marks the second dedicated Starlink mission of the year for SpaceX, and it also marks the first direct-to-cell satellite launch for this year. Prior to today's launch, SpaceX has launched overall 7,656 Starlink satellites with dedicated 388 direct-to-cell satellites to date. Just of last year alone, a staggering 1,982 Starlink satellites were launched. So that's a huge number and incredible achievement. Now, before dive in, we want to give a huge thank to all of you for joining us. We are truly grateful to have you here, and we can't express how much we appreciate your presence. Really appreciate you being here. Now, just a heads up, it's me only managing the launch coverages on my own. So if we face any technical snags, please bear with me and hang tight. I will do my best to guide you through the Falcon 9 rocket launch happening in some minutes. Approximately, we are away from the liftoff. It's 36 minutes and 14 seconds. Also, a big thanks to our amazing YouTube community for being here today, supporting us as we provide detailed coverage of space launches, complete with extensive statistics and thorough insights. Now let's get into the mission details. Today's weather for the launch looks quite promising with no issues, but once again we didn't receive any dedicated launch weather forecast from 45th Weather Squadron. Finger crossed and hope the launch proceeds on time without significant delays. But if for some reason launch does not happen today, we do have a backup opportunity tomorrow, that is on Thursday, January 9th, with launch window opening at 9:59 a.m. Eastern Time. Now let's take a look at today's payload details for Starlink Group 12-11 mission. Built in Redmond, Washington, today's payload consists of 21 Starlink version 2 mini satellites, including 13 direct-to-cell satellites. This launch marks the second dedicated Starlink launch for this year. Each Starlink is equipped with 5 advanced Ku-band phased array antennas, 3 dual-band parabolic antennas utilizing Ka and E bands, and a 52.5 square meter dual solar array with a wingspan of 100 feet. The two solar arrays are also aeroneutral, which means it can be used for faster on-orbit maneuvers. Also, each satellite is equipped with a high-capacity battery to provide power to the payloads. They also feature 3 space laser transponders, also known as optical inter-satellite links, or short for ISLs. These are used for intercommunications, which are prevailing in nowadays in every satellites. And these inter-satellite links operates at up to 200 Gbps. Starlink satellite make use of argon-fueled Hall effect thrusters for in-orbit maneuvering. Today's payload will be placed in an orbit with an altitude of 291 kilometers and with an inclination of 43 degrees. Each version 2 mini satellite weighs nearly 1,763 pounds, which is equivalent to 800 kilograms. Also worth mentioning, Starlink satellites are uses custom-built star trackers to find their position, altitude, and orientation for optimal broadband throughput. Each one has 4 reaction wheels as well for precise attitude control, plus a hot spare setup for reliability. The aluminum flywheel is designed to safely burn up at the end of its useful life. Additionally, each Starlink satellite is equipped with an autonomous collision avoidance system that uses Department of Defense debris tracking database to avoid collisions with space junks and other spacecrafts. Now, SpaceX is currently targeting a liftoff time of Falcon 9 from Kennedy Space Center at 10:27 a.m. Eastern Time, 15:27 UTC on Wednesday, January 8. Let's check whether the liftoff time is on time. Yes, it seems they are sticking with the previous liftoff time. Now let's take a look at the flight record for the booster supporting today's Starlink 12-11 mission. Booster with tail number 1086 will be supporting today's mission. The booster's turnaround time as of today is 31 days. Quite a young booster with tail number 1086, which has 2 previous flights in its record, including NASA's GOES-U mission, where the booster played a role as one of the side boosters on the 10th Falcon Heavy launch. And additionally, this booster supported 1 Starlink mission, now awaiting its 3rd flight just minutes away. The last mission supported by today's booster was the Starlink Group 12-5 from Pad 40 on 8th of December last year. Now let's have a look at the bar graphs showing number of Falcon 9 launches each year. Before today's launch, SpaceX completed its 2nd launch for this year with the Starlink Group 6 6-71 mission launch from Slick 40 on 6th of January. Previously, SpaceX completed 132 launches of Falcon 9 last year, marking a year with the highest annual launches to date for SpaceX. With today's launch of Starlink 12-11 mission, the bar graph now depicts 3 Falcon 9 launches for 2025 at the beginning of another year full of excitement and record breakers. Looks like we could see around 180 Falcon 9 launches this year according to Elon's previous tweet, and hopefully it gets true also. Now would like to welcome Angry Bird, one of our moderator over here. Thanks for tuning in, and nothing to be sorry about that. We can understand that people are having work. So anyhow, you joined us for that. We are glad. Now just a second. Well, I just checked that the launch is on time or not. Now we will be again skipping the pre-launch timeline as it's just a typical Starlink launch. Nothing much to discuss about that. So let's go ahead and have a look at the trajectory for today's mission. Falcon 9 leaving the pad from Launch Complex 39A from Kennedy Space Center with a batch of 21 Starlink satellites on board, including 13 with direct-to-cell capabilities, for a southeast trajectory heading into low Earth orbit, that is, to the 12th shell of the second generation Starlink mega constellation, which is indicated by that green line on your screen. The red line indicates where Falcon 9 first stage will land after stage separation, just a little later leaving Florida's Space Coast. Today's mission is supported by A Shortfall of Gravitas drone ship, one of the two here on the East Coast, which means that the first TH booster with tail number 1086 flying for its third time will be returning heading out to the drone ship for its landing, and this will be the 93rd landing on A Shortfall of Gravitas drone ship to date. The planned booster recovery is 600 kilometers with estimated fairing recovery approximately 670 kilometers downrange. And the stage 2 debris re-entry will be in the Indian Ocean on its second orbit. Currently, there are 3 in SpaceX drone ship fleet, as we all know. One of the 3 drone ships, just read the instructions, and A Shortfall of Gravitas are stationed here in Florida, while of course I Still Love You is stationed in California. And we do expect the addition of a 4th drone ship likely early this year, as previously stated by SpaceX. Now we have a request again for you folks. If you haven't already, consider giving this video a like. It really helps YouTube's algorithm to bring in more space fans and rocket enthusiasts like you. And if you are feeling we are adding value to your viewing experience, consider giving that a smash to that subscribe button, and for that we would be super grateful. Now, speaking of fairing recovery, SpaceX will utilize a recovery vessel to retrieve them from the Atlantic waters. Two halves of the payload fairings will be recovered slightly farther, approximately 70 kilometers downrange, from where the first stage lands on A Shortfall of Gravitas drone ship, after they will smoothly splash down with the guidance of parachutes. SpaceX manufactures the fairing in-house, with the total cost of two half is nearly $6 million. And so for that reason, SpaceX always aims to recover the fairings for repetitive use. Now on your screen, you can see how a fairing recovery looks like. The recovery vessel on your screen is Doug, performing the recovery operation, also being today's supporting recovery vessel. Other recovery vessel, Bob, is en route back to the port, getting done with the recent Starlink 6-71 mission, while Go Cosmos is moored as of now. And also, I am noticing that for long, Go Cosmos is being staying moored. I don't know why it's not coming into action to perform the recovery of fairing half. Now we are about 22 minutes away, 22 minutes and a half away from the liftoff. Well, I forgot to show you some views of how the fairing recovery looks like up close. On your screen you can see some cool pictures of this fairing half being recovered by a recovery vessel. Now as we near to the liftoff time, let's get to some stats related to today's mission launch. Before that, would like to have a look at the chat. Would like to welcome Dawn Porter. After long, we got to see you, although we were also missing in between for some personal reasons. We couldn't make the live streams, but we are really glad to see you once again with us. Hope you will be enjoying the stream. Well, Angry Bird, from now on, as we decided, I will be on camera. So, unfortunately, you have to get habituated with me looking. And yes, of course, Dawn is a space fan. He did showed up in our previous stream also, and I do remember him. So let's now move on to the stats. The launch for today marks the 431st SpaceX overall launch and the second dedicated Starlink launch of this year. This is going to be the 418th Falcon 9 launch to date. The third flight of this particular Falcon 9 booster supporting today's mission, with tail number 1086 being in action after 31 days. Today's mission marks the third Falcon 9 launch and SpaceX's overall launch for this year, that is for 2025. This will be 363rd Falcon 9, not Falcon 9, 363rd Falcon booster reflight to date. That is the launch of a booster that has flown at least once before. 99th orbital launch for SpaceX, launching from Launch Complex 39A, and the 193rd overall orbital launch from Pad 39A. With the success of this mission, SpaceX will have a remarkable 7,677 Starlink satellites, including 401 dedicated direct-to-cell satellites launched to date. Previously, the count for the direct-to-cell satellites, as I mentioned before, was 388. It still is, I must say is, because still the launch didn't happen yet. It's 388. Now it will be 401 direct-to-cell satellites. Now moving on to some reusability statistics. This launch marks 347th Falcon 9 booster reflight to date. This will be the 93rd landing on A Shortfall of Gravitas drone ship, marking the third landing of the first stage booster with tail number 1086 supporting today's mission. And with this mission's first stage landing, SpaceX will be having 313th overall drone ship landing, marking 374th Falcon 9 landing to date and 393rd SpaceX overall landing to date. Now, speaking of drone ship landing, here are some stats prior to today's mission. So please don't get confused with these numbers with today's launch. Only the number at the successful landings for the shortfall of Gravitas will be changing after today's launch. It will get 93. So these stats are prior to today's launch, just to give you an overview of how many landings have been happened on drone ship. Meanwhile, as you guys go through this drone ship slide, let me have a look at the chat. Well, would like to wish you, Don Potter. I guess it's your birthday today. May God bless you with a happy and a long life. And it's 78th birthday of yours. Is such a big number. And happy that we could get a chance to wish you and to have you with us on this special day. Once again, enjoy the day as Everyone says, and I do believe that life is short, so we should be cherishing each moment. Well, Angry Bird will be focusing on the life. Well, that's hard to believe. Now let's have a look into some key stats for SpaceX launches in this year, including today's mission. With today's mission, SpaceX will have the third launch of this year, and out of those, two are Starlink missions, including today's launch, and one non-Starlink mission for commercial and government organization. And to be specific, that one was the Thuraya 4 mission previously, the first for this year. And with today's mission, SpaceX will be having 3 reuse booster. Now, if we will be looking into the geographical distribution of these launches, SpaceX will be having 3 launches from East Coast, with one from Launch Complex 39A, that is Kennedy Space Center, including today's one, and 2 from Space Launch Complex 40, that is from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. So as of now, all the 3 launches for SpaceX is from the East Coast only. On the West Coast, they have no launches yet. So Vandenberg didn't saw any launch for SpaceX yet, but sooner we will be having that Vandenberg launch for NROL-153 mission, the first NRO mission of this year, and the 7th for the proliferated architecture for the NRO. No launches from Gulf Coast at Starbase in Texas yet, although much things are happening there at Texas. Now awaiting the next 7th integrated flight test. And we are expecting the next one, the 7th one, probably 11th of January. As for landings, they will be nailing it for the 3rd time this year with 3 drone ship landings. One on Just Read the Instructions, 2 on A Shortfall of Gravitas, including one from today. And as of now, no ground landings. Now let me have a sip of water. Prior to today's launch, the success rate for ground landings is 98.77%. For drone ship landings, it is 96.59%, and the overall landing success rate is 97.03%. We all know the landing success rate for 2024 got reduced, and it was 99.24% due to the failure of the booster with tail number 1062 to land on the A Shortfall of Gravitas drone ship during the Starlink 8-6 mission. And that landing failure also marked the first landing failure for the drone ship A Shortfall of Gravitas as well. The longest stretch of successful missions in a row prior to the last mission failure, that is the Starlink 9-3 mission, is 334 back-to-back successful missions. That is from Iridium 1 to Turksat 6A. Today's mission is the 67th launch since that last mission failure. Most launches in a calendar quarter to date is 42 launches, including 2 Starship launches in the fourth quarter of last year. Unfortunately, we couldn't make most of the lives during that time, but we'll try to be consistent from now on. And most launches in a calendar month is 17 launches in November, including 1 Starship launch, again last year only, that is 2024. We're getting close to the liftoff time, so let's just quickly wrap up with the stats. Now 138 launches in a calendar year, which is the most to date. You can see the breakup for those launches, although don't get confused with the 134 stated launches, because they didn't counted the Starship launches. So if we will be excluding the Starship launches, the number is 134. 66 successful launches since last mission failure with Starlink 9-3. 51 successful landings since last landing failure with that Starlink 8-6 mission. Prior to today's launch, 284 missions SpaceX had with at least one reuse fairing and approximately 536 number of fairing half reuses. Including this slide and the previous slide, we stated the stats prior to today's mission. So once again, just a reminder, don't get confused. Now moving on to this year's orbital launches, including today's one. With this fourth orbital launch of the year, United States is leading with 3 Falcon 9 launches, followed by China with 1 launch, as they mark the second orbital launch of the year. And I can assure you, I can bet you that this year we will be seeing more launches with many new rockets debuting. So now we have this pie chart showing 2025 orbital launches by rocket variations, including today's launch. Falcon 9 having 3 launches and China's Long March 3B E variant rocket having 1 launch so far. And with that, we are done with the stats. And let's see whether the webcast began or not. Yes, the webcast has started. So let's just quickly hop in to the webcast. Now, adding value to your viewing experience is our top priority. If you felt we somewhat achieved that, please consider liking this video. It really helps YouTube's algorithm to bring more space fans and helps others to find out this dream. We would be incredibly grateful for your support, and we are thankful for your presence over here with us for today's launch.
Falcon 9 tanks are pressing for strong back retract.
Now, as we heard the call out, we are pressurizing the tanks for strong back retract. We are adding a little bit of gas to stiffen up the tanks so that the clamp arms around the stage 2, that solid rocket structure holding the Falcon 9, can open up. Upon opening the arms, we will start reclining the strong back about 1.5 degrees away from Falcon 9. You can see that strong back on your screen. There we go, we got the call out. Strong back retract sequence has started. Now hopefully we will get some nice views that the clamp arms will be releasing the Falcon 9 slowly. Whoa, it's nice view we are getting today. Now T minus 3 minutes and 55 seconds and counting. All systems are go for an on time liftoff. The next event is the retraction of the strong back away from the Falcon 9. We heard the call out. Now here at the Cape Canaveral and Kennedy Space Center, we recline the strong back about 1.5 degrees away from the Falcon 9. But in Vandenberg, we recline it about 13 degrees away from the Falcon 9. The retraction of the strong back is a slow process. We have hydraulic actuators at the base of the strong back that will pull it away. You can see right now on your screen, it's getting to move slowly. And we do this slowly because you might be able to see those lines that are still carrying the liquid oxygen to the second stage, as well as the electrical signals and air conditioning up there in the payload fairing. We need to make sure that all this easily stretch out. So for that, we have to do it slowly. And we did got the call out that stage 1 LOX load is now complete. We are nearing at T minus 2 minutes and 30 seconds. We are waiting for second stage that will finish up at just inside T minus 2 minute mark. Now currently we are getting nice views for the Falcon 9 awaiting its liftoff. Now we are waiting for the stage 2 LOX load completion call out.
Stage 2 LOX load is complete.
And here we go. We got the call out right on time. Stage 2 LOX load is now complete. All propellants are now on board the Falcon 9 with 1 million pounds of propellant. We are now beginning to vent down the pressure that was in the tubing on the strong back. That's why you can see those clouds coming out there. It's completely normal. Ground gas closeouts. We did got the call out there. And here we bleed the pressure off, and that cold gas when it reacts with the moist humid air, which gives us that nice white cloud, an indicator of launch coming up. Next event, T minus 1 minute, we should hear the call out that Falcon 9 flight computers are in startup.
Falcon 9 is in startup.
Here we go. Falcon 9 is now in startup mode. And stage 1 and stage 2 are running the rocket through the last minute of count. Now we got the call out from SpaceX launch director giving go for the launch. We are coming up on T minus 30 seconds. All systems continues to remain go for launch of Falcon 9 and Starlink.
T-minus 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. Liftoff. Go Falcon. Go Starlink.
Vehicles pitching downrange.
Stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
A successful liftoff. Falcon 9 has cleared the tower. We did got the call out for vehicle pitching downrange. Now T plus 30 seconds into the flight. Falcon 9 on its way with 21 Starlink satellites into low Earth orbit. Hopefully we will get a call out for power and telemetry being nominal. There we go. Good call outs. We are into the throttle bucket right now. We are throttling down the 9 Merlin engines, preparing for the period of maximum dynamic stress coming up. And we did got the call out for vehicle being supersonic. We have exceeded Mach 1 on the Falcon 9. Right now Falcon 9 is faster than a speed of sound. Max Q call out right on time. We are through the period of maximum stress on the vehicle. We have throttled the 9 Merlin engines back up to full power. We are getting some nice views there from the first stage of Falcon 9. MVAC engine chill call out. Right now we started to chill down the MVAC engine on the second stage prior to its ignition just after stage separation. Now coming up, 3 events in rapid succession. The shutdown of main engine on first stage, that is main engine cutoff, also known as MECO, followed by stage separation and ignition of second stage. The MVAC engine for the first time in today's flight, and that event is known as SES-1, which will boost the payload into low Earth orbit. So let's hear the call outs.
Main engine cutoff.
Stage separation confirmed.
MVAC ignition.
We got the call outs for all back-to-back milestones. The stage nitrogen thrusters is now beginning to reorient the first stage, and the flight computers, as you can see, has commanded the 4 hypersonic titanium grid fins to slowly begin deploying now that the stage separation is successful. Nice spectacular views from the second stage. Now we are waiting for the fairing separation confirmation.
Fairing separation confirmed.
Now we got the call out there. Fairing has successfully separated. And you could hopefully see the fairing half falling from the second stage view. Right now we are looking at the view of the first stage, which continues under the force of gravity and steering with the help of grid fins. The first stage will continue to rise towards the apogee before descending back towards the landing on drone ship, A Shortfall of Gravitas, supporting today station in the Atlantic Ocean. Second stage, meanwhile in middle of its 6-minute burn, is on its way into the parking orbit with 21 Starlink satellites payload on board, providing us spectacular views. And always, as Pop Tripika was mentioning in our previous stream, and for the reference, the Pop Tripika is one of our moderator over here, that always this second stage view looks more crystal clear than the first stage one. Now currently we are preparing for the first stage to make its return to the drone ship landing site. Up until now the launch has been excellent and smooth. The second stage is operating at maximum capacity and we are getting some cool views from space. The first stage has completed its task and is now en route back. Well, Angry Bird, thanks that you wanted to share our stream on X. Maybe there can be some issues, but never mind. And don't get agitated by people not responding. Some people are there, maybe they are watching, just they don't want to indulge in chat. And thanks for praising me, although I'm not such good. Now, as you can see, the first stage as it is,
One FTS has saved.
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
we got the call out. Stage 1 FTS has been saved, which means the entry burn for stage 1 is starting, and also we did got the call out for the same. We have just lit the 3 of the Merlin 1D engines on the first stage. Now we are rapidly slowing down the vehicle, as you can see on the bottom left side on your screen from the telemetry.
Stage 1 entry burn start down.
And this entry burn lasted for around 25 seconds. Now the Falcon 9 is equipped with 4 landing legs,
Has saved.
and these are made out of carbon fiber with an aluminum honeycomb. They are placed symmetrically around the base of rocket and they will deploy just prior to the landing. And we did got the call out for stage 2 FTS being saved. It means the orbital insertion burn is accomplished. Now we are waiting. Well, I was just going to say about that. We did got the call out for stage 1 being transonic. Now the vehicle is traveling slower than the speed of sound as it heads towards the landing. Speaking of landing, we are just less than 60 seconds away from that. Now we are waiting. Well, we did got the call out. Stage 1 landing burn. Great views of that landing burn with center E9 engine now lit. We are slowing down the vehicle furthermore very rapidly. Should be seeing those landing legs deploy any seconds now. Landing legs deployed. Nice views for landing.
Stage 1 landing confirmed.
And there we have it. We have successfully made the 374th landing of an orbital class Falcon 9 rocket. Today we did got a spectacular view of the landing as well. Coming up next, we will have the second stage engine cutoff, that is SECO 1. And following that event, we will enter into a 45 minutes of coast phase. And there we go, we did got the call out for MVAC shutdown, that is SECO 1. And hopefully we will get a... Yes, we did got the call out for nominal orbit insertion. So there we go. These were the callouts we were waiting for. Second stage engine cutoff, SECO 1, as well as the confirmation of good nominal orbit. Today's launch marks SpaceX's 431st successful mission, with the landing marking their 393rd success. And with that, we will wrap up our coverage for now. Be sure to check out our social media handle on X for the latest happenings in space industry and updates on upcoming launches. Hope you enjoyed the stream and I could do my best and meeting your expectations. And thanks for joining us and Angry Bird, Don Porter, on his 78th birthday. Once again, wish you for that. Now we appreciate everyone joining us for today's launch. Wishing you a nice week ahead. Starship and New Glenn launches are waiting for us. Thanks for watching. This is AstroYonder Live and me Dipta signing off for now, and we will see you next time.